Hello, welcome to True Hoop with me, Jarod, Hector, and Coach David Thorpe. How are you, sir?
Jarod, I am well. You are
Yeah?
looking at a man about to enter a new phase of life.
Well, yes. Your children have graduated, right? Or did that happen yet? Commencement happened yet or not yet? A couple weeks?
Rachel graduates next weekend. Max gets his first master's. Also, I don't know when he gets it because he's not going to walk, but we're going to watch my daughter. But I'm not out of the woods yet. Rachel's going to move home for the summer while she kind of looks for jobs. She's going to work here, and
Yeah.
my son has one more year to get another master's and coach. And
Yeah.
but still, no more kids in regular college anymore. So that's a good thing.
Well, I bet your bank account appreciates that.
It does. The truth is, we had put the money in a 529.
Yeah.
Started probably 18 years ago, and so I've never seen that money. It's been gone a long time. My wife handles all that. But in fact, it might cost me more because now we can't use that 529 to pay for stuff,
Right.
like food, because you can pay for food and housing. But It's a worthwhile trade. I can't wait to have my daughter back here. And actually, both my kids, Mike's coming home today for a couple weeks. He's gonna help me train a player or two or three, and then Rachel, he wants to hang out with his twin sister. He hasn't been hanging with her in a long time.
Right.
We'll all be together on Mother's Day, which is only 2 weeks away.
Yeah. No, that's good. And then, these are times, David, that, the four of you won't have as many of, right? As Max goes to he goes to coach wherever he goes to coach, and Rachel may end up with a job across the country or who knows where.
Yeah, that's right. Sure, exactly right. This is I've seen different videos where families, as soon as kids start college, like I tell everyone, including my own wife, when they leave, they only come back to visit. Once they leave for college, it's only visiting. It's not like they're back home. No. This is just a rental.
Yeah.
Now. So it's I'm hoping to watch some games with my son these next weeks. That'll be fun. We haven't done that in a while.
And it'll be good too for you guys to, sharpen up on each other and well, what are you seeing? Well, what are you seeing? Right. And I'm sure he'll learn a lot from you. He may show you something, maybe. Who knows? It'll be fun.
I don't think so. I think he's gonna be. I don't think so. Not yet. I mean, not yet. Yeah, I've heard good things about what he's doing, but he's been more focused on college than the NBA these last 4 years, understandably so. I think he's watching the games as a fan. In college, it's different. He was really studying games and everything. But it'll be. I know he loves it. So tonight, there's no late games. I think the Knicks play at 9.
Knicks are. By the way, why do people like to complain about shit? Oh, I see, oh my God, the NBA needs to be criminalized for putting that game on at 9 p.m. I go, why? Who cares?
As opposed to what, 7?
Right. It'll be over by what, 11? 11:30 at the latest? Come on, man. It's fine.
Geez.
And it's a playoff game. It's a potential closeout game. Come on.
It is. I was thinking about that this morning. Twitter is just a terrible, terrible place to go now. I didn't used to be. I used to love it. I used to really love it. And it's just everyone bitches and complains, and who knows how many of them are real. I don't know.
That. Yep.
So, but in general, people tend to like to complain about stuff, and I'm not one of those people.
No, we don't need. There's enough bad things going on in life. Let's have fun watching basketball. We don't need to complain about what time of game starts.
It's gonna be a great game.
And we're gonna get into that for sure, David. Playoffs have been exciting, but we have an Ask Coach Thorpe question. Folks, again, if you want to get a question into Coach Thorpe and tap in his big basketball brain, please send your questions into truehoop at truehoop.com. That is TRUEHOOP at truehoop.com. All right, David, this question comes from Nicholas. Nicholas says, NBA players tend to use the dribble on the break more than relying on passes. And I've noticed big men have become more enamored with leading the break in recent years. Do big men dribble too much, in particular on the fast break?
Well, it depends on the big man. Normally, and I say normally because I've seen Precious Achiuwa think he's Magic Johnson. I nothing against Precious. I'm not a fan of that. No. All right, so I look at it from this way. The ball is advanced faster in the air than on the ground for sure. There are certain players, you know who they are, because they're leading the league in assists every year, who are just more dynamic with the ball than other people. That is not to say that it's always important to get them the ball only. If you can throw it ahead, it used to be find your point guard, get to the middle, bring it up fast, in fast break. I used to do that too. And then you start having Joakim Noah's. Tyrese Thomas could dribble. Joakim could really pass. Al Horford could lead the break for many years. And then we started seeing more and more 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guys that can do it. One of the reasons why I like the Pacers' acquisition of Siakam is he can handle it like a guard in many respects. Not totally, but certainly on the break, he's very good. And obviously, there's a guy named LeBron who's really good at it. So if we're talking centers, Jokic is excellent at bringing the ball up. AD can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Valanciunas is wise playing that way. Bam can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it should be less about any individual player than more about let's get the ball down the court as fast as possible. The pass is the faster way. But sometimes you have to dribble it because they're taking away hit-ahead looks, and so you got to push it the other way.
Mm-hmm.
But the big picture answer is everyone's getting better at everything. Everyone's getting better at everything. So more centers can do more things than ever before. And more guards and wings find ways in the paint to score and backing down or whatever. And so as we get to this more positionless game, we're going to have more players doing it. Now, the key is to teach them, okay, this is when you should dribble it. This is when you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyrese Halliburton tells a really cute story on the Siakam thing where I watched him talk about it. I don't remember if he was with JJ or with someone, but he said the very first game he ever played with Siakam, I think it was in Portland, a game that Tyrese should not have played because it re-injured his hamstring. But he said Pascal got a rebound, Tyrese was ahead of him. Tyrese said, as I pulled my hands up to say, like, hey, throw it to me, the ball was already in my hands. And that was his first thought of, oh, I'm going to like this. And then he said it was different than when playing with Bruce Brown, who ostensibly Pascal kind of replaced in the way they did the starters. Bruce wanted to bring it up himself. Mm-hmm. It's faster just to throw it and go. If you watch the Pacers play, Tyrese does the same thing back to Siakam when he's ahead of the pack. So it just quickens it up a little bit. So that, to me, get the ball down the court as fast as you can to take advantage of whatever. We always say, I always say starting position is everything. Starting position is everything. And so the best time to attack a defense is before everyone's in a good position, a good starting position. And so that's why it's so important to get up there fast and the pass is faster than the dribble. But if you have to dribble it and he's a big guy, as long as he can do it, that's fine.
Yeah. And this is why in half-court offense, right, the best coaches and teams emphasize ball movement, right? Because if you're zipping that thing around, that moves much faster than players trying to move around, right? And when you get guys on rotation on defense, that's a difficult thing for defenses to do and puts you at the advantage when you're the offensive team. Like, it's not really rocket science in that way. So love it. It makes perfect sense. What I wonder, David, when you're looking at, everyone being able to do everything now, we talked about this as it relates to positional instincts. So if you got a bunch of players who can all pass, dribble, shoot, key, right? You want that for sure. But you do want people who have what you call knowledge of how to quarterback a game and how to organize and get people set, right? And that's something you can teach, though, right? Like at the young stages, so that everyone can learn how to do that, not just point guards only.
For sure. They don't tend to do it, but they can. In theory, it's exactly right. Is you should be able to have more than one guy organizing things. But we've not done a great job of that as a sport and as a collective in America. Certainly, I've said this before. The industry that I kind of started, player development industry, as a business industry, have failed in that endeavor. We've gotten very good, best ever at developing skills, and even sometimes knowing how to use those skills, but not done a great job of really teaching them how to win and how to organize your systems to win possessions. I think that phase is coming, though. Okay. We hear a lot of talk about Europe. I'm not sure the Europeans have it always all figured out either. They sometimes have no choice but to rely on systems because they don't have the individual greatness. But if you look at the draft this year, there's a whole bunch of Europeans coming. Like they have a lot of talent there too. They tend not to be as overwhelmingly athletic and explosive as American players do. Obviously, lots of exceptions, but in general, our high school teams that are top notch are just more athletic than the ones you'll see over there. And sometimes that's so because their best players over there come here. We have that IMG, Montverde, whatever.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. So, and this person want to mention is kind of a bad example because he's just a unicorn and has got a computer brain, super fast processor, all that. But I wonder if Nikola Jokic was born here. Let's say his parents left war-torn Serbia. So whatever, same age. He grew up here in our AAU system versus over there. Would he be different as a player now? I know it's probably hard to say what that would, if that's true or not.
Well, I think a lot depends on geography. If he was in Arkansas or Mississippi or Florida or Georgia, Texas, I could see him playing a lot of football growing up because he wasn't that tall.
Right.
He wasn't 7 feet tall when he was in
Right.
ninth grade and
Right.
sixth grade. I don't think anyway. Well, certainly not sixth grade. And so that definitely would have an impact. Maybe not a negative one, but maybe. And the AAU stuff that we do now isn't great for really learning how to play. That's not to say they can't learn; they do. But I also do think some of it is genetic. I do think there is, whether it's pattern recognition, that kind of thing. I do think there's a genetic aspect of that would carry over no matter where he was. Yeah.
I was just curious because they always talk about how in when he grew up, right, it wasn't so much as you talked about, right? There isn't a ton of individual greatness, so a lot of like practice on understanding where all 5 men are supposed to be versus we're playing a tournament this weekend and we got 7 games Saturday and Sunday, right? Like we're just practicing a ton. We may play, I don't know, 1 game a week, maybe, So just thought that was interesting.
Well, just to pick up on that point, I got a text yesterday. My world is very weird right now, Jarod. I may have said this on Monday. I apologize if I did, but another thing happened yesterday. So I do spend a good portion of my day now either watching film for NBA players, talking to NBA players, texting NBA players, or their agents, or their coaches, or when I mean their team coaches, or their personal coaches. But because I have this side recruiting business that we're doing, where I'm not just helping them with recruiting, I'm helping the players play better. My partner helps with the recruiting. I talk to high school kids too. Mostly this time of year, I'm texting with them. But yeah, so they're in AAU. So yesterday I got a text, actually it was from the father of a very talented 9th grader in New York who's playing high level. He's going to be probably be a high major player. He's a very talented kid. And the dad, all he really sent me was, he forwarded me the email or text he got from the head coach of the AAU team, who really did a great job defining what are they trying to do. We're trying to get better as players. I'm not going to overplay your players. Everyone's going to play a similar amount. We're focused on development. Winning does matter sometimes, blah, blah, blah. It was very encouraging. And the dad wanted me to see it because that's what I've been stressing to them. Like, you don't get so caught up in rankings and how many games you play. I think that's a hindrance to development. I really do. And so he was showing off to me that the AAU program they picked, which is a very good program in New York, maybe the best, has their priorities in line. I'm hoping that becomes more the norm. I don't have any idea if it will.
Yeah.
I certainly am trying to champion that.
I love it. No, it's important. I think that'll go a long way in helping players develop that overall skill, right? Like in terms of how to, not just their individual skill to dominate, but how do we understand that within a team concept, how to play winning basketball all around. That's huge. And if we do that with the talent we have here, then now we're cooking with gas. So we shall see. All right, David, on the court last night, the Celtics, as I put in the document, Celtics stopped playing with their food and destroyed the Heat. In the 4 games they won.
They stopped 3 games ago.
They did. Every game they've won, it's been by 20 plus or more. They've been really dominant.
Jarod, I may have heard this right. I don't know where I heard this from. It might have been on a podcast this morning. I think they led all but like 59 seconds of the last 3 games. So I think it was less than a minute total.
Yeah.
These were not competitive games.
No.
There were moments of competitiveness, but there was really not a doubt in any of the 3 games. Yeah.
And quite frankly, David, there shouldn't be. The Miami Heat don't have Jimmy Butler, didn't have Jaquez last night, no Terry Rozier. I mean, this should have been a blowout, right? And it was. I mean, kudos to the Heat for shooting lights out in game 2, and the only way they could win. So happy, well, not happy, but whatever. Kudos to Boston. They're feeling good. David, as you look at the Celtics as they get ready for the next round, we don't know who their opponent yet is going to be. It's going to be the winner of the Cleveland-Orlando series, which I think that's going 7, but we'll get to that in a minute. What should the Celtics be looking for from themselves in round 2, right? After because it's easy to be like, all right, we did lose game 2, but we blew them out in all the other games by 20 plus. I'm not saying complacency sets in, but what are you doing to try to keep yourself sharp as you head into the next round?
I mean, there's a lot of things. It probably has to start with your defensive mindset, your defensive disposition. Is the game they lost to Miami, they weren't guarding anybody. I could probably win a jury argument that they intentionally played that way. I mean, it was so obvious that it was almost like Joe Mazzulla was thinking, I almost want to lose this game. You know, it reminded me of, I didn't think about it at the time. I thought about it as I started watching the next games, thinking that was such an aberration.
Mm-hmm.
I started thinking of Chuck Daly throwing the game against the college kids in the Dream Team scrimmages. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like let's just show that we are mortal, which they will have no problem proving that in these next rounds. Maybe not this round, but round 3 and 4 potentially. And so yeah, let's just pay attention to detail. Let's get comfortable with what we're going to do against with our. You know, the rotations against both teams can be very similar in certain things. So let's make sure we're tight on that. But mostly it's just more of a what edge are we having? How are we carrying ourselves? And then offensively, it's getting just a better understanding of, okay, here's when we were at our best in this last series. Here's what we did against both Cleveland and Orlando. When we're at our best, here's what we're at our worst. And let's try to stay away from that. Like, I think Boston can still get a little ISO base. They happen to be just really talented. So that's the best combination. Great isolation players, great team stuff. They can beat you both ways. But they probably need to do with some data dives and where we at our best and get the guys on the same page. And because even the next round shouldn't be that competitive.
No.
I don't think.
No. Offensively, and again, the games were blowout, and it's small sample size, 5 games, so I don't want to overreact. But, David, Jason Tatum in the 5 games so far, shooting splits 41, 29, 80. Not great.
Not good. Not good at all. You didn't even notice him. I watched the game yesterday. You didn't really notice him. It didn't matter.
Right.
And so I thought he's just cruising. He's saving it.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
He's just saving it. I mean, you're not trying to miss shots.
Right.
But I just said he didn't look really engaged to me because he didn't have to be. And quite frankly, it worked out better because while he gets some more rest, Derek White got a chance to do his thing. And you want that. You need that.
Out.
You're preparing for the Celtics. You're not just talking about Tatum Brown.
Right.
You're talking about Derek White too.
Yeah.
I think, and maybe their bench as a shooting group.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So, but we'll pay attention in round 2 if the Magic or the Cavs, someone take advantage of that.
One area of concern for them, David, Kristaps Porzingis has a calf strain. This is another player with a calf strain. And again, people relax. I'm not saying he's going to rupture his Achilles or anything, but that muscle is connected. And so this is a concern because Kristaps is what unlocks this as potentially the best starting 5 unit in the league that can rival the Nuggets starting 5, right? All the mismatches he creates at that position. Now, Al Horford is still amazing and still doing awesome things, but the reason they got Kristaps is they have to put so much burden on Al, and Al can come in off the bench and be that guy. Now, if you got to start Al and play him a ton of minutes, that's something to be concerned about. It may not matter in the second round because I think they'll be clear favorites against anybody they play, Orlando or Cleveland. But as you mentioned, when we get to the conference finals and the NBA finals, he's going to need to be healthy. And calf strains or any of these injuries, David, it's one of those things where resting for a week and then playing NBA playoff basketball isn't going to make it better, right? It's not going to heal itself by doing that.
They should sit him the whole next series. They should be able to win against either of those teams.
I would agree.
Yeah, without KP, it'll be a little tougher, but they should no rush, and they know what they're doing. I'm confident of that. I do think he's important, not
important.
Just from what you said as a paint scorer potentially. Mm-hmm. He's 7'4".
Correct.
He does add some rim protection to what they're doing. You can't just ignore him on either end. You can't just ignore him.
I don't know if you noticed
that's where
this.
The Celtics are good.
I don't know if you noticed this, David, in the last series against the Heat. There was it game 1 or game 2? I don't remember. Bam had scored on him and gotten a foul and is yelling he can't guard me. He can't guard me. I charted it after that, David. Every time in isolation that I remember, Bam didn't score on Porzingis. So, again, I'm not saying all things are whatever, but he's not some pushover in the post that you can score on. That height matters. He's pretty good.
Yeah. And the team has a good structure of defense around them. Listen, players are silly sometimes. I love Bam.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I fucking love him. But watching Milwaukee and Portis and Beverly do their stupid shit.
We'll get to them. They were having a good time.
And I like them. I like both of those guys too. But when I'll say this. So I was a little bit younger than Bam, but in my early 20s, I would go to a grocery store with my then girlfriend and then my fiance, then my wife. And sometimes I would skip down the aisle. I don't know why. And I don't know what happened the last couple of years. I mentioned, they're like, do you remember I used to skip sometimes? And she's like, oh, I just thought it was adorable that you did that. I'm like, oh my God, thank God for that. But that's just being a boy. We're boys. That's what I love that about basketball. I do. I love that you play it as a kid. And so I may have mentioned to you when I started swimming laps.
Yeah.
I felt my whole childhood back. I've been swimming my whole life, not just jumping in a pool, but swimming, not competitively, because I was playing every other sport. That was my time just to enjoy myself. But I swam yesterday. I swim every day now because it's warm again. And I'm reminded of just being a very younger boy and a man. And I think that's the same way with a lot of these guys when they're hooping.
Yeah.
You know, they love to play.
Yeah.
I have a young player that I'm helping now, is a very, very good college player. On Sundays, he goes to church and he plays golf. That's what he does on Sunday. And but other than that, he's in the gym. And I'm thinking, should tell him stop playing golf at all?
Right.
Because the NBA likes you when you only play basketball.
Right.
Because that's how most of these guys are. And if I talk to these players at night, my guys that are eliminated, they're watching games every night, or they're about to watch. Like I'm about to turn it on. Yep. The guys are in the playoffs, are watching it. It's in their blood. It's in their DNA. It's like music is. Have you ever heard Billy Joel on Howard Stern show? He did it recently. I think maybe he took coincide the 100th,
the 100th show.
100th show, yeah. And the music just pours out of him. All these people, that's how it is to these guys playing. So on occasion, you're gonna get Bam being a little hyped up, like, you can't guard me. This is what young guys do.
They love it.
You know what, Bam? First of all, a lot of guys can guard you. You're not a great scorer.
Right.
Great player, great lead. He's the voice of the Heat.
He is.
He took Udonis's role, but scoring isn't his best talent.
Yeah. It's everything else. No, and look, kudos to the Heat for, Eric Spoelstra was never going to just roll over. We have nobody, whatever. I mean, they're down 30 and they're still fighting like in the game, and that's a skill. So kudos to the Heat. They're going to have to do some stuff this offseason and figure out, all right, what direction are we going in? How do we retool this roster? Yeah, they can do what they do as always, go down and then scout and develop and get that player and turn them into something. But if they want to continue to push on with Bam and get themselves into contention again, they need to figure out some things, and I'm sure they will going forward. The Mavericks last night in LA, David, blew out the Clippers. Boy, 3-2. They got a stranglehold on that series. Luka had a really good scoring game, assist of course as always. So that would mean now the Clippers would have to win 2 straight games. Anything's possible. To me, it doesn't seem highly likely, but what do the Clippers need to do to have a comeback and win these next 2 games against the Mavericks?
I mean, they've got to get some defensive consistency. I didn't study the game last night. I watched the first half and I watched fourth quarter today. But I think that when they played drop coverage, they've had Luka to get downhill more. When they've switched, they've been better. So they probably got to go heavy switching in game 6 is my guess. Luka's got to make a bunch of shots over people instead of being able to come downhill and just do everything he wants. Harden and Paul George have to play better.
Sure do.
Harden was so amazing in game 4. He missed a couple floaters early in game 5, got a shot blocked from 3, and that was kind of it for him. He didn't do anything the rest of the game. Paul George is bad pretty much the whole game too. They're a player short for a series. They can pull off wins. But it looked, Kawhi, I think, re-injured himself, they said.
Yeah.
Been playing going forward.
He's not playing. Yeah.
So, Zubats is playing great. Powell, I think, got hurt. Did they say this before the game?
I don't remember.
I have someone on the Clippers who told me that he hurt his finger before the game.
Well,
and badly.
He needs those fingers because he's an important shooter for them coming off the bench.
Yeah. T-Man played well. Yeah. But, they're not guarding consistently well. Yeah. And Dallas is good.
Well,
we've said this all along. I picked Dallas to win the series because I didn't think you could trust Kawhi. And The Gafford-Lively combination is real.
Yeah.
I thought Derrick Jones Jr. really took a step forward as a defender.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is super important for them.
He's athletic and
and
long.
going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And going forward against OKC to guard Shea. He might be the guy that can do it. And PJ Washington, I thought, was just okay. He's been okay in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick's been consistently better. And I think Josh Green finally made a three.
Yep.
A big one, a 4-pointer.
Yep.
He's not been shooting, I don't think. So, yeah. The Clippers got to get their big guys playing well. They got to think they should push tempo more. They started out the game yesterday well pushing, and then they kind of slowed down, and they're not getting stops. And that's, you're not going to break anyone.
Hard to push when you don't get stops. Speaking of stops, are the Mavericks playing championship level defense right now?
Yeah, they probably are. Really impressed with what they're doing. They've been playing this way for quite a while. I looked it up today. They're fifth so they were seventh from March 1st on in defense overall, and they're fifth this postseason in defensive rating. Third, if you exclude Boston, who played a beat-up Heat team, and Cleveland, who's playing a Magic team that can't score in a fishbowl. You know what I mean? Yeah, obviously terrible. They can score. So Dallas is playing good defense. Yeah. They've got same thing I wrote when they traded for Gafford. 48 minutes of a rim running, shot blocking big. Luka's competing on defense. Kyrie is aggressive on defense. That's the makings of a quality defensive team.
I think you're right, and we'll talk about that potential, that series potential with about the Thunder later on. No, but I like what I'm seeing from Dallas, and somehow, some way, whether they just decided they were going to do it, whether Jason Kidd got them to do it, I don't know, but they're playing defense, and you got to respect that right now. We'll be back after a brief commercial break. All right, David. Tonight we have a big matchup. Game 6 in Philly, New York, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Philly, it was the Knicks' turn to lose a heartbreaking game, as Philly did in Game 4 at home. Now it was the Knicks' turn to lose a heartbreaking game, and they sure did. They had the game seemingly won, and had Josh Hart just made his free throws, game's over. The NBA came out with the report saying that the Maxey 4-point play was incorrect. I know you've been on record saying you hate that. Like, I hate boiling things down to one play because it's not about one play. Like, yes, that play seems very pivotal, but again, 7,000 things happened in the game that led up to that. As I just said, if Josh Hart makes his free throws, doesn't matter. Game's over. Like, he didn't. And so you allow now opportunities to happen because you didn't do what you're supposed to do.
But not only that, it's you're just cherry picking because of a random time. They do in 2 minutes. What if they do 4 minutes next year?
Right.
If you're doing one colossal mistake every 2 minutes, it's 24 colossal mistakes.
Correct.
And maybe 18 of them went against one team, but you're just highlighting one. So I think it's random and stupid. But yeah, the New York's going to have to rally the troops. I don't think that'll be a problem.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
If there's one team I know, actually, I was actually surprised, David, at Philly's resolve and their toughness, because I wasn't sure they were going to be tough. I know the Knicks will bounce back because that's just their culture and DNA. The Philly surprised me. I was like, ooh, look at you. You could have, Maxey himself missed free throws, and he could have went into a shell and been like, oh, crap. But he did not.
He was just, whew. I did it. So this week, today, we're publishing the latest kind of update on how I think things might go, which is not easy to do. It's hard to predict the future. But I give the Sixers a chance to win a championship because of the way Tyrese is playing. Now, they got to get by New York. They're down 3-2.
Yes.
But if they get past New York, that means they've come back down 3-1 against an excellent team.
Yes.
Which means, and Embiid is still there. The way Maxey's playing, I mean, you have a chance to have two of the best three players in any court you play on. You're going to have the best player until the finals against Denver if Embiid's on your team and healthy. You're going to have the best player in every series.
Right.
And then it's, who knows? If he's healthy, if Embiid's healthy.
Well,
and so now you might have the third best player. Shea's better than Tyrese, but Murray's not. I mean, he's clutch and experienced, but this is why the Sixers have a fighting chance. Tyrese was I just loved his fight. What a fucking fighter he is.
David,
I was really impressed.
He could have folded after missing those free throws and been like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Well,
and it would have been
most of them don't.
It would have been understandable if like it got to him, not folded, but if it got to him, right? Like shit,
right?
Like
right. But yeah, most of the time these guys they missed. I mean, they had the first time he's missed free throws before. Been playing a long time. These guys are lifers. But yeah, what did they say was wrong about the foul call? I know they did it, but I didn't see. I saw the headline.
I want to say that it was not a foul.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you miss that?
Wrong. No, my bad. No, it wasn't that. It was a travel. They missed the travel.
That's what I thought.
They missed the travel call.
They thought he traveled.
Yes.
Yeah. You think that was the only travel call they missed?
Well, right. A million travels happen in a game that you don't call. Like,
I tell you, you want to make me a fan? Because I'm not a fan now. It's a business. Have a list of all the violations you miss every game.
Give us all 80,000 pages every game.
I know. If you want to fix the problem, you'll start doing that.
Yeah.
Here's all the missed travel calls. The next morning, have it out there.
Yeah.
You can see it all.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And if you're really smart, link it.
Yeah.
So we can see it, click the button and see the travel. How obvious it was or how tough it might have been. That might be fun to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work for somebody and some team in the NBA's office.
They can afford it.
They sure can. Back to Maxey. David, his ability to just get to the rim, and because he can shoot, he's 40% from three. He gets you in that no man's land, right? Because you can't get up. You have to get up on him to contest, but you get up too close. Sorry, suckers. Like, I'm going by you. It's a deadly combination.
It doesn't even matter where you are when you have that kind of speed. What I always teach people is if you stood, maybe I've said this to you before. If you're standing in front of a Ferrari and you're 5 feet in front of the Ferrari and the Ferrari's standing still, and the guy punches the gas pedal. Okay, Henry's mad at you. He punches the gas pedal and he hits you. Okay, but he's 5 feet away. Now imagine he's 50 feet away. Which is going to hurt more?
I mean, it's all going to hurt, right? Like, regardless, you're going to get hit by a car.
Right, but the 5 feet away one is not going to be nearly as bad as
impactful, right? Because it's going full speed.
So you'll see players back out. The first guy I saw doing that. That doesn't mean he was the first guy. First guy that I remember seeing doing was Tony Parker. And so we teach that. We do this called Tony Parker. Back it up and zoom ahead. And so it doesn't matter if he can shoot the three. It's just another weapon for him. That doesn't mean some guys don't stand up, which they should not do. If he couldn't shoot, you would normally stay down. But if you're giving him room, he can always zoom by you. The fact that he can also make you three just makes him much more potent because he can get a third point all the time. Yeah, that shot he hit to tie the game was phenomenal. Yeah, guarantee he's practiced that a bunch.
Yeah, easily. You can see it because there's such confidence and the motion and the going up and shooting. I do this play a million times in practice.
Yep.
So as you said, David, a game on their hands for sure. Game 6, and I put this in our chat. Did you see this? Michael Rubin, former minority owner of the Sixers, a bunch of them.
Yeah,
they bought 2,000 tickets. They're like, we can't have Knicks fans take over our arena. I'll be interested to see if what the style is going to be like. If it's going to be more Philly heavy or MSG heavy.
But we shouldn't raise taxes on billionaires, should we? Yeah. I'm sure that money is much better spent making sure there's no Knicks fans going to the game than like feeding children and stuff. Jesus Christ. I could not believe what I saw.
Listen, folks, as you can guess, you see where we stand on certain things coming out on this podcast. That's just the reality.
I'm just saying I'm sorry. Basketball is important. Basketball, I know you are. I mean, I'd rather him have said, I'd rather him say publicly, I'd rather have Knicks fans have 2,000 people in their seats and we're going to go feed a bunch of people or whatever you want to say that can help people in need than just making sure there's no Knicks fans in. Gee, come on. I honestly, it makes me want to root for the Knicks now. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Not root for the Knicks to win. I don't care about that. Root for people to get in anyway. I want come on, Knicks fans. Show up. Do your thing. I know StubHub has tickets. You can get in there. If you really care about your team, you'll find a way in that place. Put on a Sixers hat. Put on a Sixers jacket. Sixers t-shirt. I grow a stash like Dr. J. I don't care what you do.
And then take it off when you get in with your Knicks stuff.
Right. That would be the fucking best. Let's go, Knicks fans.
Who says David Thorpe doesn't have a little bit of petty in him? It's there. It's there. I love it, though. It's a good move. No, look, Knicks fans will be in the building tonight for sure. No doubt. David, I'm less worried about. I mean, well, they have to advance for it to matter, but Knicks' fitness concerns are worrying me in the sense that the minutes are starting to pile up. Tibbs notorious that bench rotation is short, right? We play 7
Yeah.
guys. The longer this series goes, it's only in my mind going to hurt them if they do in fact advance to the second round. Because now you're like, man, and they're hard minutes. They're not easy minutes. Those guys are grinding every possession. I'm a little concerned about that for them. But Tibbs is like, maybe that's the only way we can win. We gotta play these guys as many minutes. I mean, we disagree with that.
I feel like whenever I watch games and players are forced to play a little more, like the way Bobby Portis played this very last game, which is not, his typical game, but he shot really well. But when you give these guys a chance to do more and they do more, it should be a sign that they should be playing more anyway. So you can rest your guys more. You don't have to win just because you have Giannis in the game and you do great, doesn't mean you shouldn't be building a bench because he'll be better when he rests. And so, but these guys just don't see that. They just don't. They're gonna play the same number of small guys every game. So most of these coaches anyway. Mm-hmm. And the only way to teach him is to lose again. Like if the Knicks lose this series, I don't know how he keeps his job. And whoever does come in, he's got to really reconsider how they go about playing a rotation.
That one will hurt. Up 3-1, that will hurt a lot if this team loses this for sure. I agree with you. Devastating for sure.
I'm going to root for a Game 7. I'm telling you, I normally don't root. I'm rooting tonight. God damn it. Let's go Sixers. I've never rooted for the Sixers in my life, by the way. I hated Andrew Toney. I hated Mo Cheeks. When I played one-on-one in my driveway growing up, I was Norm Nixon. You don't remember Norm Nixon is.
Of course I remember Norm Nixon. David, I'm not like a child. I never remember Norm Nixon. Now, I didn't see peak Norm Nixon, but I remember Norm Nixon.
I did. I was Norm Nixon, and every time I was Mo Cheeks, I gave Cheeks a chance. I always made sure, because I play one-on-one against myself for hours, I would make sure Mo made him, but when it came crunch time, he kept on fouling Nixon when he missed. I let Mo make his shots. Oh, yeah. I hate the Sixers, but tonight, let's go Philly. Let's do it. I might have a cheesesteak for dinner. Yeah. Never mind. That's not happening.
No cheesesteak. Joel Embiid. Look, he's clearly hobbled. We know this.
Yeah.
He had a quadruple double because he had 10 turnovers in that game. Couldn't make a shot. Look, I just don't see how he gets better physically as this goes on. Like every time he does, like he exerts energy and has to come down and land, you see him grimace and I'm like, that playoff basketball isn't going to make this better over time. So even if they do escape, like my confidence in them going far is not high because I'm like, you're not going to get to rest and get better. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
It is an issue. Like if they were to win Game 6 and Game 7, which are big ifs, I would definitely sit him in Game 1 the next round for sure.
But of course they won't.
I don't know. Try to get 3 or 4. I mean, he can sit himself. Try to get an extra third or fourth day of rest between. But that series, if Philly wins, it means they're playing on Sunday.
Yeah. So I mean, you ain't getting a whole
time. And then the next game is Tuesday,
right? So
I think probably Thursday.
Yeah.
So you sit Tuesday. You get an extra day of rest and give it a chance. Yeah.
Listen, if coaches were less afraid of getting killed in the media, if it doesn't work, they would totally do this stuff, right? We talked about, I mean, you and Henry have been talking about this for a long time. We talked about this all the way back to 3 years ago in the Nets Bucks series when everybody got injured. And Katie had won Game 5 in Milwaukee, and you were like, just rest Game 6 and come back for Game 7. Just do that.
Yeah.
He played 48 minutes, was incredible. Just don't play Game 6. Who cares? And have him rested for Game 7. Hindsight, but they're afraid. They're gonna get crushed, and it's somehow, David, it's like antithetical to probably macho-ness, right? Is probably what I would guess.
I definitely think that's what it is. I was wondering how AI can impact sports, and so one of the ways would be to feed. I don't know if AI really is the right one. Maybe it's just computers, just to feed all the data in on. You give injuries a pain rating and a recovery rating, and there's lots of variables to do, and see what the computer recommends in terms of when we'll be able to come back. The computer might say 3 months. Can't do that in the playoffs,
right?
But I think that teams are better off for 1-game solutions, playing healthier guys and your stars that aren't healthy and hobbling around. especially if because your increased chance for injury go up.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
Increase your chance for injury. Yeah,
100%. David, when the Sixers wrong series, when the Pacers won Game 4 to go up 3-1 at home, you talked about, what is this, a kindergarten birthday party? Goggle eyes on the bench, everybody just having, playing too loosey-goosey and not serious enough. And I said to you, all right, fellas, I want to see what happens. You go to Milwaukee for Game 5. It's turned up. You're down 8 or 10 on the road. The crowd's whooping and hollering. How do you respond? They did not.
So I don't care about goggle eyes. Just to be clear, as I did see the goggle, as much as the overall goofiness of the guys in general, and Milwaukee caught the same virus. There's Pat Bev who
doing his little whatever.
Yeah. Guy scores a couple baskets and Bobby Portis doing their two silly boys. However, I love them. Here's why. Pat Bev, I know that players who have played with him swear by him. Like real positive all the time, accountable, talking all the time, knows his role. I'm a huge fan. I've been a huge fan of Pat Bev. I want to say he came from Ukraine when Daryl Morey first signed him. Played at Arkansas first.
Yep.
And I thought, man, Daryl did it again. This guy can really play. How'd they miss it? I'm a huge fan. It works for him. It works for him. Portis has already been ejected once. I'm not a fan of Portis. Pat Bev's got a whole shtick going on, to be honest.
He does.
And it reminds me a little bit of Daryl Armstrong. Not that Daryl did the same thing. You remember Daryl Armstrong?
Of course.
Because he definitely played differently. But I remember, I may have told this once before, an NBA player's dad was telling me, as well as the player was, this is a young player, that the coach wants my son to kiss his ass or he's not going to make it. And he said, you keep saying he should be like Daryl Armstrong. Like, my son's way better than Daryl Armstrong. I said, your son's in his first contract still. That dude's like 18 years in the league, whatever it was. What are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with being professional. And I think Pat Bev is very professional, those histrionics aside. Milwaukee, Brooke Lopez wasn't doing it. Right. It was mostly just Bev and Portis.
Bobby.
And we'll see. I think Dame's going to play tonight. I don't have any knowledge. I thought he'd play. I don't think Giannis will play.
No, Giannis won't. I think they're like, this reports come out. It's getting close. So, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Close could mean like 3 days. Could mean whatever.
But Dame warmed up before the last game. So I think it's possible that he plays. And that's helpful. He can be great. He doesn't have to be great. They're 1 and 2 with him in the lineup. The Bucks are. But Indiana just did not bring a level of force. They I don't think their defensive systems were good. They really they're just saying, hey, everyone, you're on your own. And the Milwaukee players have a lot of confidence right now, and they're not sending doubles and rotating out and making guys make plays. They're just making them make shots. Well, these guys are NBA players. They can make shots. Pat Bev is fine if you don't make him think much as a scorer passer, because he doesn't normally have to do that. You have to force him to be unsure. Am I going to shoot it? Do I have to quarterback the team? They got to make Portis put the ball on the ground and not because he's shot great. And Indiana's they didn't commit to running. Listen, I've been saying this for a long time now. It all comes down to Halliburton because the way the team is structured. They can change next year. My guess is in training camp, Rick Carlisle will bring up a whole different kind of offense. They'll still play blur ball, but they've not really done a good job of folding Pascal in fluidly and consistently, as well as taking advantage of what Nembhard can do as an point guard. It's all Tyrese. Well, when it's all Tyrese and he's a no-show, you're not going to win.
Good. Yeah.
They have one win against a good team in a while when Tyrese shot poorly. And it was maybe game 3 in Indiana. Because in game 4, they all played great. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't love what I'm seeing from Tyrese. I think he's playing hero ball. I think he's trying to be the man when he's not ready to be the man because he's just not as healthy as he was, my guess.
Yeah.
And I would not be at all surprised to see Milwaukee win the series in 7. I mean, it's a coin flip series now.
And that, look, Indiana's young, so it may not, look, it'll hurt them for sure. It may not hurt the way the Knicks losing 3-1 will hurt them, right? Because this is more of a veteran team that, no one expected Indiana to do anything. I have to imagine, David, it's hard for Halliburton, and this is not about giving him an excuse, but you start the year and you're that all-NBA caliber player lighting the league on fire. You're now hurt and not the same, but again, you're not going to go out in the media and say, I'm hurt, and like, you're out there, you're playing, you're whatever. But having the inability because of youth and inexperience and maybe the system too, to not know how to, okay, what are the other ways that can help us win without me shooting 15 threes and all the other stuff? And he just doesn't know how to do that right now.
He's not doing that consistently. He knows how to do it. He was 4-10 last game from three. Really good the game before, if I remember right, as was the team. Much better effort defensively is what's needed from him. A recognition that you're not the best matchup when you're not. Get off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some other challenges too because Middleton is
cooking.
If I saw this Middleton going into the season, I might have picked Milwaukee to win the East, or at least be right there with Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I had no idea what happened with Damian Giannis injury-wise because he looks great, and he's injured. But you don't see it. He's moving really good. The Pacers found a little something. Nembhard, no surprise, he defended him the best of anyone too. Although I think Siakam can guard him some. Nesmith can't. I didn't realize going into the series that they're from the same school. So Nesmith is like Middleton's like his big brother, and that's how he's treating him. I don't even notice you. He's scoring whatever he wants to score. And you can't have Nembhard on Dame. You can't have Nembhard on Dame and Middleton. Can't guard both guys.
Correct.
So if Dame plays, that's much harder for Indiana. But if he doesn't, and Nembhard's got to not foul, which is not easy against Middleton, but it's easier than going against Dame. That helps a lot, I think, because they have to solve the Middleton problem. But like I said, all that being said, I mean, Miles Turner, Indiana can shoot you out any game. They did game 4. Turner can really do well. Lopez is playing better. Doesn't mean he'll keep playing better. We just saw this with Harden and George. Guys in their 30s, mid-30s. That roller coaster ride. So I could see Milwaukee losing the game, but I don't trust Indiana's mental toughness and their ability to play with force through 48 minutes. That might matter tonight. And then there's still game 7. But if they lose 2 in a row, it doesn't mean they'll lose 3 in a row. I could see it happening though for sure.
Well, given the mental toughness you just mentioned, to me, if they don't win Game 6 at home tonight, not happening on the road, Milwaukee. I just don't think they have the requisite, as you mentioned, the toughness and the disposition and all that to do what is necessary to win a closeout game on the road, even with a hobbled Milwaukee team. You mentioned Middleton. Nesmith, I mean, and this is Middleton. His game is very smooth and he bites on every fake. And I'm like, bro, like, don't you watch film? Look at me talking from my couch like it's easy. Come on, don't you know what he's gonna do? It's the same thing every time. Why are you biting? Like, don't fucking foul.
He's tough. I was talking to a Bucks player yesterday. We were talking about how good Middleton is when he's healthy. He's just really a special player.
He's very tough.
He can make those long jumpers. He can kind of craft his way to the rim.
Yes.
Carries himself like he's not doing any stupid shit. That's a grown man right there.
No goggle eyes.
I guarantee you. And again, Pat Bev breathes life at every team he goes to. I don't mean to be critical, but I guarantee you, Chris is like, oh, come on, guys. Like he's not going to say anything.
Calm the fuck down.
Yeah. Maybe Pat Bev will go to OKC next. He'll fit in right in with how those guys play. Well, I can imagine him barking.
Oh, yes, because I've heard him barking game before already. Right. So that'd be fun. Pascal only 12 shot attempts. He's got to get more shots.
But part of that is the Bucks defense. So in game 4, he didn't get a lot of shots because they're just converging on him. They're building a wall and drives, and they're doubling on catches. Sometimes on the catch, sometimes on the dribble. And the Pacers can play around it. They can do a better job of being more forceful to get him looks, which means also probably teammates will get more open because of doubles. And he's got to do a better job trying to get open in the paint, cutting, screening, pick and roll, sealing. Both things have to happen. But Milwaukee right now is not worried about Halliburton. They're worried about Siakam. And I think it's smart for them to do that.
Yeah. Well, Halliburton better have a turn back the clock game tonight and make a bunch of threes, or else his team's in a whole world of trouble. Oh, for sure. Definitely possible. All right. I said it before. Look, again, kudos to the Magic. I'm convinced this series is going 7. 104-103 was the end of that game. Game 5 the other night. Game 6 is in Orlando. again, look, Orlando's playing some of the, I mean, as I said a million times, they're playing championship level defense. They just can't score. Paolo had a good scoring night the other night, 38 and 8.
Yeah.
They're going to need another big night from Franz Wagner, hit threes, Jalen Suggs to hit threes. They do that and push this to 7 back in Cleveland. Then coin flip game. First of all, Orlando already gets a ton of credit for what they've done this season. Hell of a year. Incredible. Not over yet, though. They can still fight and win this series. But I just like what I've seen from them.
I mean, yeah. They really defend, and they play really hard. They love their coach. It thinks to me. Nice coming out game for Paolo. And Franz also has had a great game.
Yes.
I think a game before that, he was great in Orlando. I could easily see Cleveland winning tonight. They've got Donovan.
They do.
And they've got their big guys inside, and they kind of got lucky to survive game 5, and that
sure did.
That's not nothing. Orlando, I think their youth will help them just kind of regenerate, and I'll have a game on. It should be a good game, but it's just, I don't get excited for either team because I don't think they have any shot next round.
No, I agree. Well, spoiler alert. Neither team will be in my top 5 when we get to playoff top 5 teams later in the show.
No.
Speaking of teams that are young and can regenerate themselves, the Thunder swept the Pelicans, albeit a hobbled Pelicans team, but still, they did what they had to do. Won all 4 games. David, are the Thunder young and dumb enough, and I mean dumb in the best possible way, to find themselves in the conference finals because they just, look, we're just going to do what we do?
Normally, if it was a one-and-done situation, I would feel differently. But over 7 games, the gravity of what's going on, takes effect. And I'm sure they could beat Dallas or the Clippers. Doesn't mean they will, right? They're going to be favored, and they're the better team. They're playing loose. They're playing carefree. That could bite them in the ass in game 1. What Dallas had to do to get by the Clippers, I think, will help. I think it helps them move into the next round with more intensity initially.
Sharper. Yeah.
I think at game 1 anyway. But yeah, the way they're playing and just we don't see anything like this. There's no team that has 9 guys mugging for the camera after games and barking and all that shit that they do, Yeah. I didn't know they did that because when games are over, I'm moving on.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
I never watch post-game anything.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I was watching this morning. Like, now I don't think we're talking about.
Yeah.
And Jalen Williams he's that guy now. He's a beast.
He's very special. I mean, we've been saying it for a while.
Yeah, he's great.
If he is an all-star next year, what if he's an all-star next year?
I mean, they could absolutely have 3 all-stars without question. Yeah.
Well,
he's a beast. I had a pre-draft guy tell me one of the guys he's got in his camp is a 6'6" guard, and I said, who's he play like? And he said, I think he's gonna be like Jalen Williams. And I said, dude, let's try again. Jalen Williams like a 6'8". He's a 6'8" power forward for the best team in the West. Yeah. No, your 6'6" 2 guard isn't like Jalen Williams. Yeah. Now you could say he can grow 2 more inches and add 50 pounds of weight, whatever. Jalen's a monster. Yeah, he's a big, big dude. So super talented, not just an athlete, skilled, plays so hard. Shea's the perfect guy to manage that group. Although Lou Dort is too, fire and ice a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm growing into more of a believer in them. Not still to win a championship this year, although they're on my list for champion contenders that I did today. That's coming out today. I think they know you're cooking.
What I like about them defensively is the multiple efforts. And that disposition to want to do that. And they're connected on that end. All of them. You see it. Look, I know Brandon Ingram was coming back from an injury and all that. David, you're going to have nightmares about Lou Dort. Lou Dort was all over him that series. And it's not just, the one fake. No, when he got beat, he kept fighting and I was like, what? I mean, it's not new, but I'm like, Jesus, dude, where is his energy coming from? That's a skill. And look, I think what I'm curious is you always say, how do we deal with success? Wherever this season ends for them, they're going to be feeling good about themselves. I'm curious, what happens this summer? And what happens when you come back next year when it's like, we have expectations now. Now we expect you guys to be among the contenders. How will did they improve their games over the summer? Are they hungrier this year? That's what I'm very curious to see what happens over the summer. My feeling is that it'll be good, but I don't know.
We'll have to see. It's a great franchise, though. Sam does a great job. They're well run. great coach, great executives. It looks like they're drafting players with great character. Yeah, I think they're gonna be here for a while.
I think so. It's so interesting, right? Because 3 years ago, I said to you, the future of this conference looks like the New Orleans Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Because of just how young everybody was and where they were ascending to. And it just shows
Zion
you,
and Ja.
right? And it shows you, David, how injuries and different things just, you think you're going to be here for the next 10 years and shit happens. And well, now we're not.
You can't take, you know, I'm not going to get philosophical on this, but today is May, 2nd?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not happy. I'm in February, I'm 60, Jarod. Like, it's hard to swallow that. I'm in no rush to get there.
Yeah.
I want the world to slow down. I do. My daughter doesn't know this yet, but I gave her listen, she doesn't have any needs in this life, so I don't have to buy her anything fancy for graduation. But I want to get her something just from her dad. Her mom got a really nice necklace. And I got her one that's just like a statue, in like black stone statue of a little girl on her dad's shoulders. And I used to do that with her. She was always on my shoulders at the pool. And I want her to know that she's always my daddy's little girl. She's always my little girl. We're best friends. And I would go back to those times in a second. And I say that for this. I talk to my players about this all the time. And the veterans don't need to be told this.
They know it.
Don't take anything for granted. Anything for granted. Because tomorrow is not promised. And we just have to take care of today. Live for this moment right now. And that's where we say youth is wasted on the young. That's to your point about OKC being so young, they're not even aware of the gravity of the situation. That can be a blessing. It also could be a curse. But this is where the best franchises keep their players mindful of what matters most, grounded in what matters most, get that routine in place. Let's get our film study in. Let's get our shots up. There was a team that was about to, a day before a very important game 6, a team didn't even practice. And I thought that was really weird. I wouldn't have a day off. I wouldn't necessarily make them run, but I'd make them do something. Connect. Because, OKC could have one. Shea goes down and, well, Jalen, they're probably a playoff team still, thanks to him. But they're not what they're going to be. I mean, I'm dumbass David wanted them to trade Shea for years. Sam had a vision. Yeah. And my only point was if Shea isn't going to be happy.
Right.
I wasn't saying trade him normally.
Right.
But if Shea is going to demand it, you got to get ahead of it. They sold him. Like, we're going to be fine. They were right. They're absolutely right. But nothing's guaranteed.
Yep.
I would be preaching that if I was Mark. Wake the fuck up, young fellas. Right? Shea only knows the desert. He does not want to get back to the desert, but the desert's in front of us. Let's take care of it right now. Grow up as fast as possible. See if we can't get this chip this year. That's the speech I'd be giving a lot.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And give luck a chance, right? Compete and give luck a chance.
Yep.
The Nuggets took care of the Lakers finally on another Jamal Murray game winner. I mean, it wasn't at the buzzer, but it was, with a second and change left, and the Lakers had no timeout, so they couldn't advance the ball to half court. So nothing happened there. David, I sent you the clip of that final play, and I asked you a question. I was like, is Rui confused on defense? Like, what the hell is going on there? And I thought it was a great contrast in opposition to
how did I respond? I don't remember.
And
I've seen 8,000 clips this week.
And you said more than just confused. No defensive disposition whatsoever. And it's like, bro,
stance was terrible.
It's the end of the – what are you doing? Like, it's the last play of the game. Like, you just – and look, and Prince is telling him, go, get over there because I can go cover KCP in the corner. Get. And he's just like, oh, I don't know. And just the stark contrast in the disposition from Lou Dort and different players versus a player like Rui, he was like, my guy, this is your season. You guys could have won that game and then gone back to LA. Who knows? Bad move on Rui's part.
Yeah, the Lakers are done. We're not going to talk about the Lakers.
No.
No. I do want to talk about the Lakers. You see what Draymond said about LeBron?
No. What is that?
He said he thinks LeBron's going to come back to LA.
I mean, I'm sure he is.
Why do you? I agree with you, but why do you think that?
Because where else is he going to go? Like, look, he's got a comfortable life out there. He is getting rid of the second act of his career, post-career, which is all the movies. He's not moving. So Savannah's like, we're not moving again. We're staying here, this house. So What's he going to Clippers?
I completely agree with you. That's exactly what I think too.
It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it so cavalierly, Jarod, as if you know what he's thinking.
I know.
But I completely agree with you that he is a whole nother business. That's why I thought he was going to LA to begin with. Right. I'm sure my wife would say, if you want to do this other thing,
you're on your own.
This first thing, well, we're a family or we're not. Because if you're traveling all the time, we're not a family.
Right.
And so, yeah, I agree with you. But so I think he's going to stay too. That's why I think that he'll stay.
But this is classic LeBron. Whenever he loses early in the play, he's got to, do the whole thing to make it about him. Like, I don't know, whatever. Like, come on, people. We know how this movie goes. He ain't going nowhere. Now, the other question is, though, the whole idea about, he keeps saying he wants to play with Bronny. Look, I know Bronny is in the transfer portal and has also made himself eligible. You said this. He ain't ready for the NBA right now. Like, he's just not. Now, does a team decide, we're going to draft him? And as David says a million times,
get LeBron.
The NBA has no monopoly on development, and frankly, most of them aren't even that good at it. So, to me, how do I know he's going to get better if he goes to sit on the end of a bench and get zero playing time? And I mean, if he does get picked up by an NBA team, he should then go to the G League. But do we think that's going to happen? Probably not. So none of this makes any sense to me. He's going to go back to the Lakers in some form or fashion in his career. Whether or not the Lakers draft Bronny, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with you. But yeah, so we're on Denver, Minnesota now.
We're on Denver, Minnesota now. So first of all, kudos to Denver on the win.
Yep.
Jamal Murray, heroic in that game. But the calf strain is another calf strain. How many calf strains do we have in this postseason?
More than 2.
Yeah, more than 2. Correct. Look, I don't like it.
How are your Cavs feeling?
Thankfully, great. Thankfully, great. I ran this morning. I feel good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm worried about this because if he is not healthy, it's not happening. There no repeat titles are happening.
Enormous problem.
Huge. And let me tell you about this. Well, not tell you because this Minnesota Timberwolves team. If you ain't healthy, shit.
It's not a great team to try to get a healthier Cavs on.
Correct.
Especially having a guard AE.
Correct.
That dude is sick.
I mean, and they're just long everywhere, athletic. They give multiple efforts on D. Look,
and they have 3 big men.
Yes.
Who are very different guys.
Correct. So let's go here. So let's look ahead to the series. Here's a question I have for you. Can the Wolves and their depth expose the Nuggets bench or lack thereof?
For that to happen, it means the starters have to be suffering some. And so Mike Malone's forced to play those guys more. And the answer is, yeah, it's possible. Certainly, in Malone, this Murray thing is huge.
Mm-hmm. Very troubling.
Just is like when he rises up late in games, you're expected to go in, aren't you?
Every time.
Yeah, right. Like Tiger was on putting. He's going to make the putt. So if Minnesota can, I don't know if they can. I've not really studied the series too much, but I did a little bit last week, just like as it looked like Minnesota was going to win their series against Phoenix. Jokic has done well against Gobert. Early in his career, not so much now. Yeah, and Towns is a pivotal player.
I was just going to get to him next.
He's got to stay out of foul trouble, which is not easy. He's going to be guarding Jokic probably because they like putting Gobert off Jokic, and he's prone to foul, and that's a big problem for them.
Yeah. And Anthony Edwards said, "Stop fucking fouling." He took Thorpe's rule number 1.
Right. And if Jokic is
it's hard not to foul him.
Yeah, it's hard to break your habit against that guy. Yeah.
And he needs to be on the court because when Cat's on the floor, not just defensively, I mean, he's a matchup nightmare for Denver. That's a 42% 3-point shooter.
Absolutely.
I mean, and if he's not in foul trouble,
right? It's another huge, potent offensive player put next to Edwards.
Yeah, and then. And KCP, by the way, also was hurt a little bit in that series. I don't know if this is a calf strain at any series, but he had gotten hurt in that last game.
We can assume it's a calf strain.
Because everybody's got a calf strain.
Right.
And KCP is the one who's going to be on Ant-Man. And if he's not, no calves guarding that dude, lunch meat. Look, the Wolves give multiple defensive efforts to kill Alexander Walker. I mean, hounds. Those guys just hound you. And Murray, by the way, did not shoot well in that series. He had a good game. He shot well in the closeout game, but overall in that series, didn't shoot well. So that's just something.
There is one very strange variable. what I've never said before, and I've been covering the game now for a long time. I don't know where the head coach is going to sit.
Well, not on the sidelines, because anybody dives into him, that leg's getting screwed up again.
He just had surgery.
I know. I mean, 2 rows behind, 3, and they raise some kind of like little
Like, can you have like some bodyguards? Like, I tell you what, where the first game's in
is in Denver.
Denver.
Yeah, Denver's got home
So
court.
you got to just bring in some Minnesota Vikings offensive linemen and just be in front.
Get
your stance, boys. Right, protect him, then you'll be okay. I really think they got to do something like that.
No, yeah, it's worth noting.
And it's weird. It's not necessarily going to go well. It's because the teams used to. I feel bad for Chris, who I've known for a long time. Like, you're finally in the second round. Yeah, and hell yeah, This is your moment. You're playing the world champs, and you got a hell of a team. You really do.
Yeah, they do.
You just spanked, the Phoenix team that people thought like me they would win.
Mm-hmm.
And now you fucking have to have knee surgery. Like, yeah, nothing's fair in this world, man. Everything's hard.
Knee surgery, and he's in his 60s? Not as a young man, right?
Yeah, he might be older than me. Yeah,
I mean, it ain't some like
if he's older than me. If he's older than me, he's definitely at least 60.
Right. So I mean, it's one thing if you're 18 and you're getting knee surgery. Okay, I'm cool. Like,
right.
Probably doesn't feel so great at that age.
Careful, Jarod. Careful. My mom just got a new hip, and she's 82.
She doing good?
She's walking around with a cane.
There you go. She's good.
I mean, it's amazing. It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks. She's driving again. This week she was driving. But your point is well taken. Either way, it would be devastating for them to be in the front row and get run into, which something like that would probably happen.
Of course, because those players.
If Bobby Portis was playing, or Pat Bev, definitely would be happening.
100%. 100%.
They're definitely diving into that crowd.
Absolutely. David, something of serious note to point out. Michael Porter Jr., who had an excellent series shooting the ball well, he has another family member in trouble. So Jonte, his brother, banned for life from the gambling issue. His brother, Coben, sentenced to prison for vehicular manslaughter. His other brother had a DUI just yesterday or the day before. Seems like the Porter family's going through it right now. And I just wonder, how does this affect MPJ, who, let's be real about this, the Nuggets need him if they're going to be repeating.
Do we know anything about his relationship with his brothers?
From what I know, they are all close, from what I know.
Yeah. Terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrible. The vehicular manslaughter is no joke. And, it's an accident. That's why it's called manslaughter. He didn't mean it. Yeah. It's just, it's awful. Awful. Yeah. And I don't know. It's not easy to keep that shit out.
I mean, they're human, right?
Brother.
I mean,
brother. I know people aren't close to their siblings. It'd be easy.
Right.
In this case, I think it'd be hard. Yeah.
All right, so we'll be paying close attention to that. All right, David, playoff top 5. Who is on your 5 line?
I've got to honor the article I just did. I've got I think 6 teams still alive.
Okay,
that I think have a chance.
Okay,
so I'm gonna put I'll put on my 5 line the Knicks and the Sixers. I have to tie them together because they're playing each other. Yeah,
I got you.
How about you?
I got the Mavericks on my 5 line.
So that will be my next step up. So they are. So yeah, that's right. Mavericks at 4. Yep.
Nuggets on my 4 line.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you doing it based on how they played?
How they're currently playing and the injuries I'm taking into account? The Murray thing's got me very nervous. Very nervous.
I see. So I have OKC at 3.
As do I.
But I have Denver at 2. Who do you have at 2?
Boston at 2. Because guess who's at number 1? Minnesota.
Did I not say Minnesota?
You did not. You don't have Minnesota in your top 5?
No. So I have 5. So I have a tie with because I forgot to write Dallas down. Philly. Minnesota's tied with Dallas.
Okay.
At the 4, and then I've got OKC, Denver, Boston.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Minnesota deserves to be in the top 5. Yeah, they beat Phoenix. They're playing great, and all those teams I have as a chance to win a champion. The other teams I don't have in there.
Yeah, I don't see anyone else in the Eastern Conference besides Boston, to me, being capable of winning a championship. I think the Knicks will run out of gas if they get there. I don't think Embiid's healthy enough, and I definitely don't think the Bucks are healthy enough. And even if they were, we talked about them all year. I just don't trust them as a collective and as a unit to do what they have to do.
I agree.
I love the Wolves and how they're playing. And again, the only reason why the Nuggets is because I don't know what the Murray situation is. If he comes out,
of course,
Cap's fine. I'm all good. It was just a cramp. Okay, cool. Then I move them back up. But
when is game one?
Saturday. I watched him move in that game, David. He wasn't moving great. It wasn't like he was sprinting around, and I was like, okay, this is someone who was like, this is a problem, but I have to be out here for my guys. I'm compensating and moving around, and he did a great job of doing that. But as you know, coaching basketball for a long time, you move around and you compensate to worry about something. It's because you're in pain, right? And doing that consistently.
Other problems come.
Correct. So that's my only reason why they're there. If he's healthy, then cool. I push him back up. We'll see how that works out over time. And the Thunder, like I said, are they young and dumb enough to just not know and get themselves where they have to go? We'll see.
We'll find out.
All right, guys. Enjoy the playoffs this weekend. We'll see you next week. Take care.